What is going on? YouTube world. This is not Tuesday night. No, stunning turn of events. The day name is of the same letter, but it's opening night for NFL, and that's the only bad thing about the 100 being on Tuesday, because that would have usually been our NFL preview day, because that's, again, big NFL fans. That was what our community was about, mostly back when we all started. It was a lot. I'd say, what, 75?
Oh, yeah.
75% football. Basketball was one of the lowest, besides, like, again, hockey and everything else. Like Denny might have done some wrestling. Tim Mosey did wrestling and racing, but I mean, it wasn't like everybody out there was doing everything. It was football, then football was in second, followed closely by football again in third.
Then followed by Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah, and Griffey.
That was basically what it was. Now everything is baseball, and I'm getting to the point where I'm sick of vintage cards. I never thought I would ever. I always thought it was cool to see them. I have gotten to the point where I'm sick of watching vintage videos, and that's sad. But I have gotten to that point.
The only ones I watch are Drew's.
Yeah, because at least that I know nothing about, and he explains. He explains them. So
it's super interesting.
Right.
Yep. He's the only one on my feed that does vintage.
Because I will watch anything. I don't care if you're collecting wrestling, golf, anything. If you entertain me and teach me something, or I just like you, I'll watch anything. Yeah. But I'm telling you, all these vintage cards, and they're all the same vintage cards. Like, here's my 58 Hank Aaron. Yeah, I've seen it 1,000 times now.
Yep.
I'd rather see a game used patch from like 06 National Treasures now. You don't ever see that crap. Remember, we bought that crap all the time, Dave. Oh, and we told everyone eventually this was going to be worth something, and we were finally right. Now everyone wants it and can't find
it. Yep.
All in the warehouse. One of them, allegedly.
Oh, that's why I started, because I normally won't watch your for sale stuff, because I figured if it's something I want, you're already going to hit me up about it, But yeah, I almost just wanted to watch it to see if you throw in some of those old school patches. I might be tempted to buy them.
There was a couple Dolphins in there.
There was a couple 06 patch cards in there.
Oh yeah, I know he used to buy them up. If he could get them for under $20, he bought every one of them.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah, I mean that Alex Smith, I remember that was like super cheap at an opening bid, because it was 4 or 5 years ago, and it was Alex Smith.
Yeah,
his time had come and gone, but it's like he was still a very integral part of the collecting pantheon from 05 to whatever 13ish, when he was started fading away. Or no, it would have been 16, because then Mahomes came in. But still, a decade of being fairly relevant.
Yeah.
That's the thing. If you're not like a top three, and I don't want to use the GOAT terminology, that's stupid. But if you're not like that top 3 to 5, people just sort of, that's something I really don't care about, unless you actually watch the games. You know the sport.
Right.
Which is what we'll try to talk about tonight, but I don't know how much that's going to work. But yeah, it's fun thinking of what you can get down the road, but at the same time, it's, for me, you guys all know this. It's easier for me just to send you guys stuff here.
Oh yeah.
Figure it out, and I hate trying to even if there's something that somebody wanted to buy, but always I don't feel comfortable, but in the same breath, it's like it's something we're not used to. I mean, it's not like if I had, let's say, there's a gem, a PMG, whatever they had in hockey, the gold one, the 101. If I had that of Joel Davis, let's say that existed in '97, I wouldn't sell it. That's not. I'd send it to Steve, and it'd be he'd probably be pissed. He'd be like, you could have probably made a lot of money. But I'm like, well, again, we could have. But I know somebody that's going to fucking love that card as if it's a new child into their family. So that's going to be better for me. I don't have to worry about it going somewhere that nobody cares. And you start seeing make the rounds. If it was a key card in that sense, that's just stuff I don't like to see. I mean, I want to see the cards, as we've talked about, like Dazzler, we've talked about too, go to that forever home where somebody really is going to appreciate it, truly appreciate it, not just appreciate it for like 2 videos and then move it at the next card show.
Yeah, don't claim it's a grail and then within a month's time it's now gone.
Yeah,
and that's that's not a grail card to you, obviously. So it's use the terminology, use the nomenclature correctly.
Yeah, the meaning of grail is not I got it, hot potato it away. That's what you get, hot potato.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. I got some interest in, again, of course the phone dies as it's charging. As it's in the charger, and then I have to start a part 2. But again, about 2 hours worth, which is usually par for the course for the sales. And again, tried to be a little quicker this time. And if people had cards they wanted, the one guy took screenshots of everything as he went. So it's like, perfect. I know exactly what you're looking for. Other guy had the timestamps plus the card, what it was. And again, perfect.
Yep.
So it's not just like Thurman Thomas auto. There's 4 of them in there. Andre Reed auto, about 3 of them in there. Jameis Winston patch. Okay, there's a few. It's like be specific. Then the wheels will get rolling. Yeah, it's fun for the project that I'm on, and we're not even starting in the NFL, which sucks. But it's fun for the collecting. That's what you have to do. And I mentioned that in the video too, and I hate mentioning it, but because I don't like selling. That's obvious. I don't. But we're not in that position. We're not getting the Fanatics money. We're not sponsored by Zion Cases or whatnot or Gary V or whatever the hell it is. We're normal schlubs with adult responsibilities. We pay a rent or a mortgage or our bills, and we're not living rent-free, nothing else, day by day. We have bills to pay because we have jobs that we have to go to or do. So I can't be that person that's like, I'm just going to buy everything because I love it, or else I would. That $1 billion, whatever, it wasn't the Powerball, it's the other one, the Friday night.
Mega Millions or whatever it was.
Yeah.
That one, if I won that, okay, there's a buying spree going on, and it's going to be one that puts people to shame. You wanted Jeff Wilson and Card Collector 2, and I spent this. Yeah, that's a drop of piss in the ocean compared to what I'm going to put out there.
Yeah, we'd all be getting.
Dave would show up, and he'd pan the camera over, and he had bought Josh Johnson.
Yeah.
We'd all be getting first-class tickets to Minnesota to just sit there and veg
Yes.
for a bit.
Here you go, Steve. Here's a box. I don't know what's in there. First card, EMG green. It's like, this is going to be interesting. Here's Vinny. What was that? Coho, like rookie year used stick for Lemieux. If that's the one, I don't know if it's Coho or Easton way back when, but we're just.
You're on mute there, Vinny.
Glad here's Dan Marino. He's going to talk with you.
I think he used Titan when he first started, like Gretzky, and then he went to something. Then he got the Coho deal.
Okay, so Titan, the rookie year's Titan stick that he scored his first goal on. Here it is, Vinny.
That'd be
just
nice.
Because that'd give me more pleasure than. Okay, I know what I want. It doesn't matter. I can just boop, 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 do whatever, and then. But seeing everybody else, like get some grails and get some cards they never thought because of good fortune and luck. That's like, not that I'm big into karma, but that would be the, hey, you were bestowed this amazing windfall of funds, so do with it wisely. Anyway, 2022 season probably has already started and finished after that soliloquy.
I have it on the background. It sounds like awful music. So I imagine not missing anything yet.
No, I'm sure. I don't know. When does it start? 7-ish our time, Central Time?
No clue.
Kickoff
That sounds about right.
8:20 something Eastern time. So
Okay. Like the usual 7, but it's like
7:20, 7:25. Yeah.
So, is there anything from the off season? We'll start with this that I'd say surprised you. Either a trade that sort of popped up out of nowhere, a signing that, man, I don't think he was going there, or for somebody that, man, how did that amount to become part of life now? And or maybe some coach got fired. Just what was a surprise of the off season? Start with Mr. Smith down there.
for me, it was actually Matt Ryan. I thought he was going to be a Falcon forever because I thought they should have traded him the year before, and when they didn't, I thought, okay, well, he doesn't want to be traded, is what I figured.
Yeah.
So I was actually most shocked about that one. So they did him right because they took on a lot of dead money. They didn't benefit by trading him.
No.
They did him a solid.
Yep.
So that was cool of them. But yeah, that was the most shocking to me. I would never have guessed that. The other ones, why they were big, didn't shock me. That one shocked me a little bit.
Vinny.
Mitchell Trubisky. Why? Just why? I went Jimmy G. When I heard rumors that Jimmy G wanted to come to Pittsburgh, I'm like, oh, please, just let it happen. Please just let it happen. No. Mitchell Trubisky, the darling of the stink line.
And he's your starter. And he's your starter.
But,
and the captain, I think.
Yes, he is. And they made Najee a captain on his second year. So Claypool's got to feel slighted as Hades. Because he was.
I was surprised Claypool didn't get traded in the offseason.
He's got that, unfortunately, with the wide receivers and running backs for Pittsburgh until Najee showed up. They have that young money mentality that started in Pittsburgh 10 years ago, maybe longer. I need a Bob Lewis refresher course of when that happened. But the Santonio Holmes, the Le'Veon Bells, they all were young money, and they were going to be – and look at Le'Veon now. Great back, just nothing.
Yeah, that career was wasted.
Yep. He wanted the money. That's all he wanted. He wanted to get paid.
At least Antonio Holmes realized the error of his ways, and at the end, he was like, should never left Pittsburgh. Plexico, same thing. Those guys learned from them, but what's the Looney Tune? I can't think of his name.
Antonio Brown.
Well, Antonio Brown. So talented. All the talent in the world. Just fantastic to watch. And he just went cuckoo.
Yeah,
broke his brain.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to him.
There's something going on with him, like medically.
And Claypool started out. I used to watch his videos about coming to Pittsburgh. He was going to IKEA and wherever buying furniture, and I'm like, oh, he's going to be a normal guy, not worried about money, worried about championships. Here we go. Then the first thing that happened, somebody said he started talking about money, and then boom, I'm the number whatever receiver in the league. No, don't do that. dude, just play.
Yep.
They'll throw you the rock and go. Do what you do because he's got talent too. But you got to just chill and just do your thing. And I think Najee's there. I think he's got the skill, and he's just going to be solid for us. But it all depends now. We'll see what happens. Maybe Mitch might surprise me.
He won't.
Well, then it's Kenny Pickett time. We'll see what he can do. Because I sure as heck don't want Mason Rudolph time. I don't know. He has moments of absolute brilliance, and then it's just what?
Yeah.
What just happened? But maybe now they'll let him throw the ball more. Maybe that was the problem with Rudolph. I think when he went in, he was constrained to a plan that didn't let him go to the fullest of his ability. Yeah. We'll see if that's the excuse. So only time will tell. But that was the shocker. I didn't think Mitch would be a Pittsburgh Steeler.
Michael.
Khalil Mack going to San Diego. That one kind of shocked me. I didn't necessarily think San Diego had the money. But man, they were already super good on defense, and now you stick somebody opposite Bosa like that. That's a very good team.
Mm-hmm.
Dave's heard that before.
I know. Very much so.
Yeah, but I think it's hard to get edge rushing on your team and one guy. To have two guys like that doesn't happen very often.
No. And they're up the middle. Guys are solid enough where they can get through if need be.
Yeah.
You're a double and double. It's like, well, you can't just let them go.
And now, for the Packers, the nice surprise for me was the pickup of Jarran Reed to place next to Kenny Clark to give two guys up the middle. That way, Preston Smith and Rashawn Gary can come off the edge. I think that Reed pick is going to be very important for our team because he was picked up just off the street, kind of as a guy to come in and compete, and they were pretty much going to use Wyatt or Tyler Lancaster, Wyatt being the first-round draft pick, and Reed's come in there and just taking the job from everybody.
Steve, what do you think?
I actually have two. One that surprised me that didn't, and it has to do with the hiring of Hackett in Denver, which I seriously thought that Rodgers would be in blue and orange. All because of that. Because of that. So to a degree, that was a surprise. The fact that, Hackett comes in as the head coach. History with Rodgers, I'm like, okay, this is a done deal type situation. Rodgers is coming to Denver. And then, of course, he re-signed with Green Bay, which, to a degree, I wasn't surprised, but at the same time, I was. But on the flip side of that, Denver hunting for a quarterback outside of the draft, if Rodgers wasn't an option, it was one of those in which I thought it would either be Russell or Deshaun Watson. And I'm happier with Russell than I am with Deshaun just because of Deshaun's off-field antics. I think that kid is really good, but he needs somebody next to him to just keep him in check.
He did not earn $230 million guaranteed.
No, he did not. But at the same time, he showed a lot of promise. He's a young kid.
Oh, for sure.
It's one of those in which at the same time he needs somebody, like I said, holding his hand, making sure he's doing what he's on the up and up. Yeah. So I'm happy with Russell. Even with them giving up the farm, I'm happy with Russell. Now, we'll wait and see.
That extension was some pretty wild news.
Yeah, but at the same time, I wasn't surprised with that because there was early talks about that already potentially being in the works, which is why they revamped some of the other contracts to get him under a long-term contract. So
but to get $250 million guaranteed,
it's
right. They extended Russell, so now he has flexibility where they can stretch out his cap hits for 5+ more years.
Yep.
Right.
Don't even pay attention to the number they gave him.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Same thing with Saints did with Breeze for years, and Steelers would do it with Roethlisberger sometimes.
Yeah, the Saints went into every offseason $100 million over the cap, and then they somehow get under it by the time season starts.
Yeah, they turn it all into a signing bonus, and so
that's
all that was.
The other one that surprised me, though, I seriously thought Vaughn would have stayed in a Rams uniform, coming off of a Super Bowl. Something in which that's the whole reason why he went there was for a Super Bowl. They fulfilled that sort of expectation, that goal. Vaughn has never come across to me as a money guy, but let's face it, these guys, to a degree, they're all about the money.
Yeah.
But it's one of those in which, because they only signed him to that short-term deal, I knew that there was always a possibility that after the season he would go somewhere else. And there was speculation he was going to end up back in Denver. A lot of speculation, even from his own Instagram post, that it's like, bring me back, especially after the trade for Russell. But to see him go to Buffalo, that was surprising to me.
Mm-hmm.
They offered a big chunk.
Oh yeah, and that's where I lead to the fact of that was money driven.
It was, but he also liked the fact that they considered him the missing piece from them getting to a Super Bowl. He liked the idea of that.
Yep, and he's going to a contender.
Yeah,
and it's one of those in which I can't fault a guy who still has gas in the tank. He still has gas in the tank. He didn't have the sack numbers. He didn't need the sack numbers. He was still enough pressure that they not only had to worry about Donald, they also had to worry about him. And he caused enough havoc in that Super Bowl that allowed them the opportunity to win. He didn't need to sack the quarterback. He didn't need to.
No.
And the fact of going to Buffalo, going back to the AFC, in the event that Denver makes the postseason, it's going to be a reunion potentially if Buffalo ends up playing Denver somewhere in the playoffs. So I can't fault the guy for going to a contender.
No.
Yeah.
Because that's what he wants. He wants championships, and I can't fault the guy for that. So those are my two.
I'd say Garoppolo not getting traded and sticking around in San Fran when, that it wasn't like just, there's flames or there's smoke. It's like a California wildfire.
Yeah.
Where's he go? Seattle, Denver, Pittsburgh. Will he go down to New Orleans? Maybe he'll go to Cleveland because Watson's out for 11 games. It's
Carolina.
Everybody that had any question mark at quarterback, Garoppolo was linked to them.
Yep.
Which is insane when it's for somebody that's still in the contract. Like, hey, this is like you have 12 teams that can use your services, and instead you take a pay cut. Which, whatever, but it's his choice. Maybe he just wanted to be there. But I know I heard. What game was it? Was it the last game they had? Went through the NFL highlights of, I think, them against Houston. And you can hear, because I think Al Michaels was an Amazon Prime game. He's saying he's practicing away from the facility and not with the team.
Yeah.
What? If you want to be if you want to stick with the organization, for me, that doesn't line up. I want to play with my teammates. If I'm not playing starter, hey, so
Yeah.
be it. But it still doesn't make sense. I don't know.
Yeah, that was odd that the team kind of said, go ahead and practice away. And they did, because he didn't practice with the team until the last week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wonder if him not getting traded, the offers may not have been there. I think teams were just waiting for them to cut him, possibly. So they weren't willing to give up a whole lot. But I also think there's probably some whispers in that organization that aren't completely sold on Trey Lance.
There you go.
But there's also speculation that he'll probably be gone by midseason.
Yeah, and he could be. Because there's going to be injuries or something, and maybe Trey Lance comes out and plays well. But I don't think that's been the case in closed practices.
Yeah, because I don't know if it's like a big kicker in that contract or the rework of it or how that's, because I know the base is like 6.9, somewhere in there in the salary. It's like, okay, that's very much doable. How is there like NBA? They've got like a 10-20% grade kicker. Is that involved?
He can make up to like 18, I think.
Okay.
Depending on how many starts he has. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and Shanahan's not an idiot.
No.
Let's face it. He's not an idiot. And this is all speculation. Keep in mind, I love John Lynch. But let's face it, John Lynch was a football player.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate to say this because I love the guy. I loved him in Denver. Great leader. But in his role, it's one of those in which I think there may be some butting heads potentially between Shanahan and Lynch as it pertains to like the future of the franchise.
Could be.
Lynch, I think, wants Lance. I mean, first round draft pick. Garoppolo was not meeting the expectations. Let's hand over the reins. Let's try and start fresh. Let's give this kid a chance. But at the same time, you have Shanahan who wants to put a winning team on the field and would rather have a disgruntled Garoppolo still sitting on the bench who knows the offense and everything else in the event that Trey Lance can't do, a bag of nothing. So it's hard to know because not all of that stuff is out there in social media and in the news and everything else. Some franchises do a better job of keeping that stuff under wraps. But if I'm an NFL coach and yes, I have a first round draft pick as my potential future of the franchise, but I have a guy who's taken us to the playoffs and done well. He's done well enough to keep them in games and win games and progress in the playoffs. He's not going to throw for 500 yards and 6 touchdowns. That's not what Garoppolo is.
No.
You don't need that caliber quarterback to win championships. Let's face it. The last championship Denver won, Peyton, all he had to do was manage it and not turn the ball over. The defense allowed them to win that championship. Brad Johnson, when he won in freaking Tampa Bay, it was all about the defense. He did enough to give them enough points to win that game. So you don't need a superstar quarterback.
No.
And Garoppolo still fits that bill. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with him. But, I've heard a lot of grumblings that he should be out by the middle of the season. But if I'm thinking like a head coach, who else do you got if you let Garoppolo go? Is Beathard still there?
I don't even know. I don't think
I don't know either. But I mean, he made a name for himself early on when he started, and he was winning football games. So it almost seems like you could almost put any freaking quarterback in that system, and they can still be a 500 team.
Well, they had Nick Mullins.
Mullins was another one. Yeah, Mullins was another one. So it's like, obviously, they built a damn good football team on the offensive side of the ball. So who knows?
Where did Nick Mullen end up?
He just got signed by the Lions, I believe.
Was it Detroit?
Yeah, just a few days ago.
Then Minnesota must have.
He might be able to beat out Goff.
Poor Jared.
Yeah, I think. I want to say Minnesota's got him because Oakland had him.
Right. Yeah, he's been moved around a lot.
And
maybe it is Minnesota backing up.
There, let me see here.
Yeah, that's what it was. They got rid of Kellen Mond and picked up Nick Mullen.
And then
yeah, you're right. It is Vikings, yes.
Mannion is out in Seattle. He signed in the practice squad for the Seahawks. Sean Mannion. Because he had been the backup for the last couple.
Seattle's got trash at quarterback.
That would have been the other.
I love it. You can have the Drew Lock garbage.
Yeah, I'm good with it because I hate Pete Carroll.
Yeah. No, I'm not a fan of him either. So I'm okay with that.
He's legitimately the person I hate most in the NFL. Maybe the sports world.
There we go.
And that's fair. I'm not a fan of him. I've never been a fan of his, ever.
No, since the USA or USC, and then what before that was Patriots or Jets. Was he the one that?
Yeah, he did both.
Yeah, he was at both.
I think.
So he's never been one that. There's always shadiness around him. He's always like
you can't trust the guy.
The guy in the corner that's got like the big trench coat and he just keeps like looking around like he's trying to find a chill or a mark to sell something to. And it's like, I don't know. I don't trust you as far as I can throw you. But yeah, there's a lot out there. Seattle not trying to make a move for quarterback. The suspension for Watson being pretty much a pittance. When again, Calvin Ridley gambles not even while with the team, and he gets a year.
I'd like to explain this though for people. The NFL doesn't care if you're a garbage human. That does not affect their brand.
No.
It doesn't affect their brand at all.
Nope.
The only reason Watson's getting suspended at all is to save a little face with some of the people that watch, to try to keep the women happy that watch.
And I almost bet that the original 5 or 6 game suspension was planned in advance. That way Roger Goodell can come out and say, no, that's not enough.
Yeah.
And I nearly doubled it to 11.
But
that was set up.
But what does the Calvin Ridley thing do? Now it opens up.
That's
the game
joke.
I'm watching. Could it not be real?
Yeah.
All right, even though in his case that didn't seem to be the case, but gambling in general, what's the one thing you do not want to think, even if you say it, oh, this is rigged, about refs, right? You don't want to actually ever believe it.
Yeah.
And that's why that punishment is what it is. It's not, did it fit the crime? Absolutely not.
No.
But they're just setting precedent. That's the last thing they want is, do you watch a product and truthfully think, is it rigged?
And
that's the problem the NBA has, and they have lost fans because of it. And it's come out that it was in fact true.
And it doesn't. Yeah, that Donaghy Untold Netflix documentary was fantastic.
So that is why that's so harsh. And just like the Dolphins owner, for us talking to Tom Brady, we lose a first round and a third round pick. Yeah. Why? Because it has something to do with the football itself. They don't care if you're a garbage human being.
No.
They just have to try to save face a little bit to keep happy. But that's why the difference is for folks out there that try to relate what's worse and what's not. It's what actually affects football and what doesn't.
Wasn't Calvin Ridley's bet wasn't even his team? It was in a parlay, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like a 5-team parlay or whatever.
Yeah, and he just happened to put the Falcons in there.
Yeah.
Oh man!
But again, you do deserve to pay a stupid tax because you're an idiot,
for sure.
You know. And
he
was going through some crap, I guess. He mentally wasn't all right, I guess, and that's why he wasn't playing last year to begin with. But yeah,
$1,500 bet lost him a year's worth of game checks.
The NFL allows murderers to freaking play the game. So
yeah, they don't care about that. Yeah,
but they can't let him say I'm going to Disneyland or Disney World. They let Dilfer got to say it, didn't he? Even though
Right.
Ray Lewis won the Super Bowl MVP, they let Trent Dilfer say it. Disney's like, nah, keep Ray off the screen and our name out of his mouth.
Yeah. So what was the move that you, I guess, would say most expected? It doesn't have to be like somebody going to a specific team. It can be, but like that. Okay, you could see the writing on the wall, and this person went and stars aligned. You knew something was going to happen.
Davante Adams.
Yeah,
that was obvious. If you paid any attention to anything that he had said for the last year, he was just irritated that when they finally came and said, they offered him more money than the Raiders offered him. He goes, what's the difference between now and 3 months ago when we could have got this done? Nothing's changed. Why make the attempt now? They just ignored him for the last year, just expecting him to just stay around and sign the offer whenever they got around to Rodgers. So I was not shocked at all when he left the team.
No. Again, going back to the Fresno State, who do you expect? And the Raiders, obviously, they needed some sort of marquee receiver, especially after all of their drafting blunders. They're on the precipice of some sort of success. You can't release first and second rounders and have them not even be like rotational players. Like
and then lose Ruggs to prison.
Yeah, you got to do something.
Yeah.
Mine was Bobby Wagner to the Rams, where you'll see tonight.
Yeah.
That was another one where if the Seahawks just let him go, that was 100% where he was going.
Yeah. Yep. The Rams were going to they always find money to give everybody.
See, they know how to tamper properly. They have the players do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We're just dumb and have the owner do it. Oh, gosh. Just one off season that's uneventful and not full of stupidity. I thought I had it too. I was so happy, and then ruined.
What's gonna happen when Baltimore screws up the Lamar Jackson situation and the Dolphins sign him?
That seems to be the other writing on the wall, doesn't it?
I think so.
I don't know.
Yeah, I have to agree with Michael on the Davante Adams deal. That was not a surprise.
No.
Yeah.
And I thought of another one that was I won't say surprising, but odd. And I always go back to my team because, yes, I monitor a lot of stuff in the offseason, let's face it. I mean, I see a lot of big shifts and changes, trades, all that kind of fun stuff. But the fact of Randy Gregory deciding to go to Denver for the same amount of money, I'm flabbergasted at that, because if I'm not mistaken, at that point in time, the Russell trade hadn't happened yet. I could be wrong. I could be wrong on the timing.
Weed is legal in Colorado.
Do what?
Weed is legal in Colorado.
I know it is, and he's had his issues with it, but at the same time, it's like same amount of money, doing the same thing, playing, in my opinion, with a better front line, so to speak. DeMarcus Lawrence is a stud. Van Der Esch is a stud. You've got Smith. Is it Jalen?
He's not there anymore.
No, the rookie from last year.
Micah Parsons.
Thank you.
Parsons is so good.
But
he was the best player in that draft.
They have so much talent and youth on the defensive side of the ball that, he had the opportunity, in my opinion, to flourish a little bit more. To go to Denver to where it's like all you have is Bradley Chubb. It's like Bradley's not going to make you better. You're actually putting more pressure on yourself. I just that was odd to me. Same amount of money and chose to
maybe he just didn't like playing for the Cowboys.
And that's possible too. That's always possible. You just in those situations you don't know because he had already he had signed and then reneged and said nope. Denver offered me the same. I'm going here. Yeah. So it's like
it happened with Zadarius Smith too. He signed with Baltimore, then backed out and went to Minnesota, and he stated the reason for that was so he could play the Packers twice a year.
Yeah, I read that today.
Yeah, he got real butthurt when he wasn't voted captain. That's when everything went bad for him because in the preseason and all through the games, everything when because the players are the ones who vote on that, they voted on it. He was a captain the year before. They didn't make him a captain that year. And then he went out and got a big, huge captain medallion made, $200,000 piece of jewelry to wear around his neck. And he was just butthurt from that moment on. And then he hurt his back, and the Packers cut him because it saved him almost $16 million in cap.
See, that to me, that shit's piddly.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely petty.
But on the flip side, I mean, it's a hit to your ego, which, let's face it, we're not pro NFL players. So we don't know what it's like to be in that situation thinking that you're a leader in the locker room and you've been voted a captain before, and then for whatever reason, you're not anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, that would hurt. But, at the same time, if you gave a shit, let's say, why wouldn't you sit there and be like, what'd I do? Did I do something wrong?
Yeah.
Trying to better yourself, not just as a football player, but as a human. I mean, come on. But then again, these are grown men who play professional sports, and they get paid a shit ton of money.
And ego is a lot of the reason why a lot of them are good.
Yep, and they can focus on the petty crap.
Yep. He can join the ranks of Greg Jennings and about 50 other players that left the Packers and went to the Vikings.
Brock Purdy is your third string quarterback for the 49ers.
Brock Purdy.
From Iowa.
And that wouldn't be Purdy, so you don't want that.
Maybe they would.
Where'd Josh Dobbs end up?
Who?
Man that kept on coming. Joshua Dobbs. The Steelers.
I can't remember where he ended up, but he was playing pretty well in the preseason.
Cleveland.
Is that where he's at?
Yeah.
Huh. So he's the backup to Brissett then?
Yes.
Okay.
As Dave shouts from
$1.87 million.
No, Naomi just got picked up, so.
Oh.
And I figured it was a good time to the facilities too. So.
I was giving you crap anyways.
I always thought Dobbs should have started over Mason once he showed he was good.
Yep.
But they were Hades bent on Mason Rudolph was the second coming.
This is a real question. Like, who is he best friends with? Like, and I'm being serious. Like, he's got to be tight with somebody because there's no reason he should have a job.
Tomlin.
Is that who it is? Because sometimes it's a random coach that's always just like, no, we're doing the quarterback coach or something.
But I don't understand. I don't know. Because
he doesn't have any kind of unique skill set that he can't find regularly, So it's like, what does he have like on somebody, or why does somebody love this guy?
I miss Chuck Noll.
I miss Don
Okay,
Shula.
all
So we're
I was never a Cowher fan.
I miss Shanahan.
Tomlin had me in the beginning. I thought I was like, man, he's got this team by the reins. And then it went kaboom. It just imploded. And I was like, dude. And I always wait for him. This is going to be the year. Because the better half loves him. And I'm like,
well, it's hard not to love him, honestly.
yeah, he's such a good dude.
I mean, I love the guy.
Yeah.
He is so entertaining.
I want to run through a wall some days after I hear him speak.
He's just, I don't know. He's just such an awesome human, but then he drives me nuts on the field when. But it's our
he
team.
tried to trip a player during a game. That's the dedication I want.
Yeah, that's what we want.
It's true.
Allegedly, Michael. Allegedly.
Well, I've allegedly seen that video enough to know that it happened.
Allegedly. This is allegedly.
So I'm not the biggest fan, but I'm a fan. I just hope I'm rooting for the guy. That's all I got to say. I'm rooting for the guy because I like him.
So, Dave, should we go through the conferences and throw out our picks and then see where that heads in the conversation?
Sure.
So where do we want to start?
Start with the fountain of knowledge, Mr. Smith.
Do we want to focus on a specific conference, though? Or
go NFC first, because I think most of ours, except Michael's, lies in the AFC. Our allegiances and our fandom.
No.
So, sorry, Michael, you're the odd man out in this, but
well, I'll start with Michael's team because I think this is going to be his favorite squad since the Super Bowl era. Because that defense is going to be legit now. And he's going to love that. And the question will be, will they commit to run the football? If they do, they're going to be just as good and not miss Devontae Adams one lick.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't know if the coach, because these coaches get bored and they think they're smart. Because it happened to the Browns coach last year, where 2 years ago, he had no problem running it 50 times. Last year, he's like, no, even though my quarterback doesn't have a shoulder, they know we're going to run, so let's throw it. No, they still can't stop it. Just keep running.
Mm-hmm.
But I digress. So I actually love the Packers and Saints.
Okay.
And here's why typically teams I lean towards is I want your floor to be high. And I want, if someone gets hurt on your team, it does not deplete you outside the quarterback position, of course. That doesn't include. So, like, the best offensive lineman for the Saints can go down and still be functional. Yep. The best Kenny Clark can go down for the Packers and still be functional. Mm-hmm. You know, they have enough players. My problem with teams like, well, I even said with the Rams, why they had the best first 25 guys, they had nothing after them. And you saw every time there was an injury, Robert Woods gets hurt, let's get Odell. Our safety gets hurt, we have to go sign Eric Weddle because they literally have no one left. Yeah. So I just don't like to hedge my bets, so to speak, on teams like that. So those are kind of my two favorites, if you had like early favorites. And Packers might surprise some people because people are down on them because of Adams and whatnot. But I think both defenses, both Saints and them, they're going to be top 5 units easily. And Jameis Winston, when he was healthy last year, took care of the football. So if that happens, I think they're the head of that division that includes the Bucs. So, and the other thing is with the Buccaneers, I hate teams where I have not heard one good thing come out of camp. Has one good thing happened to the Buccaneers? I said the same thing about the Colts last season, and they started, 1-4? You know, and even though they improved after that, you can't start So I'm looking for I think this first month might be quite funny to, get your laughs in now at Tom Brady, because I think this first month for the Bucks, it wouldn't surprise me as a mess.
I think they're going to miss the playoffs.
Yeah, because but then that's what I think is if you start 1-3, now your margin of error is gone.
Yeah.
So you can still make the playoffs, but
yeah, but I don't know. It's one of those in which it's probably the unpopular thought only because of Tom Brady, but I think the Bucks missed the playoffs.
So
we'll see. But that's what I'm going with. That's like I'll call it my surprise on the NFC side that the Bucks missed the playoffs. I do agree with you, Brad. I think Green Bay is still going to be solid. Should be no reason why they don't take the division.
And
go ahead, Michael.
And no, I was gonna say, like Brad said, this is gonna be my favorite team since the Super Bowl team, and it's because of that defense. They were a top 10 defense last year without Jair Alexander, and they get Jair Alexander back. They got a year of Stokes playing the number 1, trial by fire, held his own. Now him and Rasul Douglas now moved down to 2 and 3 from 1 and 2. You got Jair there. It's safety. I love both guys we got there, Amos and Savage. But getting the linebacker from Georgia to go with Devondre Campbell in the middle is so huge because the middle linebacker position has been terrible for the Packers ever since that Super Bowl team. And that's why there was a 1.5-year stretch where they pulled Clay off the edge and made him play middle linebacker because they couldn't stop the run. And when they did that, they went from being in the 20s in the defense up to right around 10 or 12 during that run. And now we've got monsters everywhere at every level on defense. And if LaFleur does, like you said, commit to the run, I think there's going to be a near 50-50 split with Dillon and Jones. And I think that is the recipe for winning, is give that ball to A.J. Dillon and let him just beat everybody up.
And then Jones
don't give up points.
Yeah.
Yeah, you break that defense. Jones has that 70-yard run beginning, middle, fourth quarter, maybe end of the third, and it's just like, that's your backbreaker. You don't need to win 41-38. You can win 23-10, 23-14. Crosby would be big for them too, because he's 2 years ago, I think he did well after a 2 or 3 year run of just sort of, is he going to be around?
Yeah, he's
last year was sort of iffy, and I know he started camp with more injuries and more ailments.
He hasn't kicked in a game.
So.
But they must feel good about him because the guy who kicked all through camp, they put him on the practice squad. So, I mean, they activated Mace. So, I'm still scared to death of that special teams because that's been the nightmare for the last 5 years. And I'm hoping that them giving all that money to Bisaccia will have made a difference. And they basically told Bisaccia, you can have guys from wherever you want. You can pull guys to play special teams that are starters elsewhere. Just because in the past they've been so thin and they've just had really bad practice squad players playing special teams. And it showed.
Yeah. You can't have those meaningful type players in meaningful situations because they haven't played that before, and sometimes the pressure of the moment becomes too big. So,
So, Brad, who takes the East and who takes the West?
I'm gonna see. I can't go with the 49ers in the West. I don't trust them, so I'll go with the Rams again, assuming Stafford's elbow is okay. Obviously that's assuming that. But and then the East is tough because everyone's on the Eagles' jock right now. Eagles and Chargers. That's all I hear about now the last 2 weeks. But I'm still going to go Cowboys in that division to win that division.
Yeah, and the reason why I asked because based on your earlier statements, you got my guess is the Packers taking the North, and then the Saints taking the South. So that's the reason why I posed the question.
Yeah. So I would say those were, but
I can't argue against those.
Yeah, like the Cowboys, my problem is they did not get better. They
Correct.
actually did get worse, and the Eagles on paper did get better.
Correct.
But I'm more just going with what I
History.
trust more, and and then the Eagles' offensive line never stays healthy. I mean, when you get to year 3 or 4 of the same thing, then it is a trend. It's not unlucky.
Yeah.
So
Andre Dillard.
and Jalen Hurts, you want to talk about a guy made of the right stuff. He's exactly what you want from an intangible standpoint.
Mhm.
But does he throw well enough from the pocket? That answer is no.
He wasn't even good in college.
No.
Well, no.
That's what. Yeah, I would not have hitched my wagon to Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, like to me, he is the perfect backup. So when they initially, even though it was in the second round, people were like, "Oh," I was like, "Well, actually, he's like the perfect guy to have behind Wentz or whatever."
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't know if you want to start him 17 times.
It's all about the work ethic, though, and that's the piece in which
He has
all boils down to the player.
Mhm.
So if he puts forth the effort and learns and tries to get better, then there's potential. That's the one biggest complaint I had. That's the one complaint I had about Drew Lock is the kid has talent. He has talent, but he doesn't put forth the effort and the time to get better. And I'm sorry, when you're a starting quarterback in the NFL, you have to look at the superstars of the past who put in the time and effort and spent time in the film room to learn and get better and work on your mechanics in order to succeed and get, I don't want to say elite, because let's face it, there's only so many spots that you can call an elite quarterback.
Right.
But I'm with you. Hurts has all the intangibles, all the possibility. But if the work ethic is there and he's putting in the time, the effort to learn and get better, then the sky's the limit. But at the same time, you have to have an offensive line to protect your ass, though, too, in the process. So look at you can't have like a Joe Burrow situation. Let's face it, like Cincinnati could have been so much better if their offensive line didn't suck. And they still made it to the AFC. They made it all the way through. Come on. Poor Burrow got his ass drilled, and he's lucky he didn't get hurt this year.
Yep.
So it's like it'll be interesting to see. I'm like you. I'm going to go with Dallas, but Philly may be the sleeper in that division to where they may surprise people and actually take that division. So,
yep.
I think the Vikings get one of the wild card spots.
Yes.
I think the Vikings make the playoffs.
Is Kirk Cousins an MVP candidate this year?
Yes.
Sneaky.
They've
got
an offensive
offense is different. Yes.
They have an offensive-minded coach there now. I mean, the thing with Cousins is he's going to make the bad throws.
Yes.
But he might throw 50 touchdowns this year. And Justin Jefferson might catch them all. Because nobody can cover that guy. He is so good.
So,
Vinny, any thoughts to what any of us are saying before I hand it over to Dave briefly for the NFC side?
I think Green Bay. I'd really like to see them go. I think they got the talent to do it. I don't want Stafford to do anything. I just don't like the dude. I tried to like him when he was with the Lions, and I was just like, and his wife's a chirper. And she
Yeah,
likes
but
to chirp.
yeah. So take her out of the picture.
Then I like
Eliminate
Matthew
that-
Stafford.
Eliminate that out of the context here.
Yeah.
Stafford was never given a chance in Detroit. That's the
problem.
was his issue.
If they would have built around Megatron and didn't do Megatron dirty, if they would have let Megatron leave and let him go like they did Stafford, we might be sitting in a different position right now. Because what could you have gotten for Megatron? Think about it. A ton. If they would have got rid of Megatron, had Stafford still there, he might have had a ring for Detroit. Because they're not bad. They lose a lot of games by like 2 or 3 points. They're on the cusp, but they have what's called the Ford curse around here. And they say that they are doomed to never win.
Well, I mean, they deserve to lose when they fired Caldwell.
Yeah,
That's true. Yeah.
He won.
Yep.
I mean,
And he was an adult in the room.
yes.
Sometimes that's
Yes.
underrated. Same
Very
with the
much
quarterback position. You just need an adult in the room sometimes. You know?
Yeah.
I don't even the new coach don't even know his name. That's how much I pay attention because I'm not a Lions guy. But
Dan Campbell's awesome.
I
dude's
think
electric.
I think he's solid. He brings the team together. If you screw around, he's gonna zap you. So I hope they win. I'd really like to see. I went to see him play the Steelers on Sunday night, the better half and I, and it was fantastic. James Harrison was still there. I think Juju caught a 99-yard touchdown. It was fantastic. And they were just, everybody in that stadium was just hurt. And they were just screaming at anything with black and gold. And guess what I had on? Me and this big old dude in front of me. And we didn't say words to the end of the game. He turned around, he looked at me. He got up, he had to be 6'6". And he goes, "We don't need to talk, do we?" And I said, "No, we don't." And he shook my hand, and we left. It was good. But the fans they tear apart their own team. I mean, I tear apart the Steelers when they do stupid stuff, but it's the old college try. They're trying. There's this past 2 seasons, they've been doing everything they can, but
They are functional.
They're functional.
Yeah.
And
So
I absolutely love Jamal Williams. I loved him when he was on the Packers. I was surprised that he was the guy they let go and re-signed Aaron Jones. Not because I thought he was better than Aaron Jones, but I knew Aaron Jones was going to be expensive, so I didn't expect the Packers to sign him. I thought we would wind up keeping Jamal Williams, which was awesome because that guy is so entertaining and he's very good.
Mhm.
And so him up there, St. Brown is a hell of a player.
our tight end or
Hawkins.
the tight end, Hawkinson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
TJ Hawkinson, Iowa
Yeah.
boy. Nope.
That's
So
my sleeper team along with the Giants. Those are 2 teams, if they can fucking pull their heads out of their asses and figure shit out and finally win those 20-19 games
Yep.
and
Yeah.
be up 17-10 in the fourth and then lose 31-17 because of a pick six and then a fumble or some stupid penalty on like an 80-yard touchdown. And 2 key people to stay healthy, Mr. Swift for Detroit,
Yep.
Mr. Jones for the Giants. If those 2 stay healthy, I think might not be playoffs, but they're going to be relevant in December. And that's a lot more than you can say over the last pretty much decade for either team.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in the NFC, I've only eliminated 2 teams that no matter if they have the best things happen to them, cannot make the playoffs. And that's the
Atlanta.
Bears and the Seahawks.
No Atlanta?
No, and here's why. They won 7 games last year with the worst roster. Only the Texans rivaled them. They won 7 games. And Arthur Smith with Tennessee made Ryan Tannehill look good. Right?
Yes.
And I think Arthur Smith might just be a great coach. I don't know.
We'll get that. But the
So-
talent around,
Yeah.
that's where I know you got Pitts.
Yeah.
Mariota's always sort of a wild card, interesting. Like, what's he gonna do? But that O line, the D line, who are you gonna throw to besides Pitts? Because I mean, your most competent receiver is out for the year. Your most competent receiver that played last year is now in Tampa, in Russell Gage.
Were they the guys that drafted Drake London?
Yes.
Yes.
USC, yeah.
So it depends on how far along he comes or the timeline for him.
Yeah.
If you figure it out right away, okay, now they can remain relevant. Maybe Thanksgiving, but I mean, if they all sort of like fall flat and
Yeah, they could be really bad. But like I could come up with a scenario that they could be 8-9, 9-8. But I cannot come up with that scenario with the Seahawks and Bears.
No.
Seahawks, sure, no. Bears, I don't know. It's preseason. I know that.
Yeah.
Watching Fields against the Browns,
Oh yeah.
again, preseason. So this isn't like you're facing a vaunted defense.
No. Here,
He looked good.
here's my thing with the Bears and with Justin Fields. He was not very good last year, which is understandable for a rookie. You traded away, you let his best weapon go in Allen Robinson. So now he's got Cole Kmet and what?
And Mooney.
Yeah, Mooney. He's good. But you take him out of the game, and then what's he going to do? Because I don't.
Now, in their defense, the guy in charge now did what the other guy should have done the year before, was get rid of all these crappy, overpriced veterans they had. But instead, the worst thing they did was sneak into the playoffs 2 years ago and ran it back. But getting rid of Khalil Mack, getting rid of all these people, they should have done that last season, and then now you could have actually started a rebuild with Justin Fields.
Right.
But this is just the teardown.
Yeah.
So I actually love the coach they hired, and I like the guy in charge now. So I think they will be on the right track, but it's just the teardown season.
Yeah.
Because it was mismanaged to begin with. So it's not ascending with your quarterback like it was supposed to be. It's we're going to have a and then we'll start ascending with you.
Wait till mid-season. Again, Hutchinson, I want to see how he does, obviously. On the defensive side of the ball, if he can put some pressure. But they traded up with the Vikings, and the Vikings, that a trade that still doesn't make sense to me to this day. And I don't think it will when I'm on my deathbed. I don't even remember the receiver. I'll have to look at my the guy from Alabama, the little speedster. I want to say Williams.
Oh, yeah, that guy. He was the kind of a guy I was hoping was going to fall later, and the Packers get him with one of their 2 first-round picks.
Yep, Jameson Williams.
And he went 11?
12.
12? That was pretty shocking.
To see that, and where that ACL used to be like a 12 to 14 month type thing, now it's ticking down to that 10 to 12 month. So let's say you get him. Obviously, they're going to continue to work him out. He's going to continue to work out and get better to whatever degree he can. It's not just like, hey, I can't do anything on the leg. I'm sitting down, eating cheesy poofs and watching South Park all day. I think that could be, if they're in the thick of it, and again, that doesn't have to mean the division.
Yeah.
That can be a wild card. If they're about 500 and he comes back, that could be their missing weapon to do something to give that injection. And I don't know. Like Michael said, like Brad said, Campbell and Vinny, he's a guy you want to play hard for. You want to win. He wears his emotion on his sleeve, and it's not the being a dick emotion. He really cares about the people that are out there, the people that are putting in the time. And when you start to build that type of chemistry, that type of rapport, that type of culture, you quickly weed out the people that don't want to be there, and you get your people in. So I think, again, I'm a strong proponent of Detroit. Again, come back and watch this, and they could finish 3-14, and I look like a dumbass. But again, it wouldn't be the first time. It won't be the last. I believe in them. I believe in what they're doing things the right way, not signing these stupid veterans and just getting bamboozled and hoodwinked, and the guys are out after 4 or 5 games. I think they'll do well. Rams, again, not being able to trust Trey Lance. Just there's not a body of work there at all. Period.
That's the 49ers. You went Rams to Trey Lance.
Well, yeah, but that's what I mean. So I'm picking the Rams because I can't pick the 49ers because Trey
Gotcha.
Lance
Okay. I got you.
150 passes in college and the pros or whatever it is. I mean, it's like nothing. It's literally 5 games worth or less stat wise because he had one truncated year at NDSU where they played just the spring. I think that was a 21 because they didn't play anything in 2020 and he just played the 1 game instead of the whole season, which was I think 6 games or 8 games. I can't put my money in there. I don't know how they're going to use Debo. If they use him more in that running back position, he's going to get fucking banged up even more than he is.
Yeah, that's the problem.
You need him. If you're going to line him up at running back, he's got to do wheel routes. He's got to make matchups against the backers. That's where he's going to make his bread and butter. If you're going to do that, he can't be your option to run over the backfield.
Yeah, I've always said why he's a number 1 weapon, he's not a number 1 receiver.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So that's why it is tricky because you don't want to give him the handoffs because he won't hold up.
No.
But if you don't give him the handoffs, it's hard to get the max what you want to out of him, because he's so good with the ball. So, yeah, it's a tough situation he's in because he's not a number 1 receiver. Actually, Ayuk's probably a better receiver than he is, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Just as a wide receiver.
South, I don't know. I'd say New Orleans. But again, a lot depends on Jameis staying healthy. Michael Thomas, figuring out what the fuck's going on with him. If he can stay healthy in his mind and his mouth, say, hey, football. Just play football and everything else will work out.
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta, I don't see them as any threat. Carolina, that could be.
They intrigue me.
That's like another one of those wild cards that you're like, if Baker can be Baker of last year before he got hurt, then you've got something. Because Robbie Anderson finally has a quarterback that can fling it to him. DJ Moore finally has a quarterback that can throw and drop it into him. They can use that speed on the outside. And they got the tight end, I don't even remember, 2nd round a couple of years ago.
And Christian McCaffrey's healthy for now.
Get him going. Their line is better. Defense, so, but it's gotten better. So again, it's not like, as Brad said, he counts out 2 teams right away. So that leaves a plethora of teams available, 14. So that you can make an argument for everyone.
Right.
Washington, again, they get Dotson. They've got McLaurin. Wentz just plays, again, the Trent Dilfer serviceable. Throw it. Make sure you hit your guys. If Logan Thomas would ever stay healthy as a tight end, I think he'd be an all-pro. But he can't, and he won't. It's not going to happen. Vikings, I think, will do well, which I hate. I love when they lose. Packers, I think that's the cream of the division. But I think that's going to be a division it's going to be like the old NFC North.
Yeah.
Or NFC Central. It's going to be like, it might not be 10-3 or 10-9 games, but it's going to be 21-17, 24-20. It's going to be some hard-nosed games. And if you get that 31-20, it's probably because of somebody just trying too hard at the end to make a play and it fails. A fumble, a pick six, a scoop and score, whatever it is. I just don't think there's going to be like 44-3 blowouts unless there's injuries, unless things like really go on the shitter quickly. So, but yeah, that would be Super Bowl pick out of the NFC. Who are you going with? Brad.
I'll go Saints right now.
Okay. Vinny.
It's hard.
Skip. Come back to me.
Okay. Michael, who do you think is going to make the Super Bowl out of the NFC?
I don't ever make picks on the NFC.
Oh, come on. Just for the fun of it. Come on.
No.
You chicken shit.
Yes.
I picked the Packers. Okay, Michael.
I'm never going to pick against the Packers. I'll just leave it at that.
There you go. See, I was right. Steve.
I'm split between the Packers and the Rams. I can't. I feel like it's going to be one of those two, and I know it's not the right thought process, but it's one of those in which there's so many things that go into. I'll go with the Packers.
Packers.
It won't happen. Okay, it won't happen. But I pick them just because if the off chance that it does, it makes me look like a genius. Because there are parts and a lot of parts that
you aren't.
You know, just keep yourself on mute. You got two solid running backs. You got a quarterback that can make some significantly wonderful plays. A much improved O-line. Secondary, solid. Backers are iffy. D-line, that's going to be a big key. They used to get pressure. They haven't got pressure the last couple of years. Receivers are top-notch. Even though one was dinged up last year, the tight end comes back and stays healthy. That's going to be, he can finally be that part of the offense that they've been looking for since they drafted him in the second round 3 years ago, maybe. I don't want him to get there because I'd never hear the fucking end of it. Ever. Minnesota Vikings. And again,
I would
they don't have to
support
win
my
the
Kirk
division.
Cousins MVP candidate thing.
Well, you watch the team, and I don't like to, but you watch them and you see what happens, and it's like, okay, if people get their heads out of their asses, and certain mistakes are just, hey, learn from it and never happen again. Get that O-line right. You've got all, I think, first and second rounders now across the board. You've got intelligent players on the line. You got a more friendly offensive system now. I think they'll make enough noise, even if they're a wild card. We've seen it before. You don't have to be the number one seed to get through. More often than not, that doesn't happen. Pittsburgh, I think in one of their runs, I think against Seattle, they were a 6 seed.
The Packers were when we won in 10.
I was going to say, I thought they were at some point. It's like, you can do that if everything starts clicking. Again, I don't want to see it because that's all I'll hear at work. That's all I'll read in the papers. I don't want to fucking hear it. Because everybody will start the purple pride, and I hate hearing purple pride. It's the dumbest thing in the world. Shut up. So I'm just going to go out on a limb and say them because, again, Rams, no depth. Packers, the choice, like the pundit's choice. And usually you see a couple teams bubble up. I'd say about half the time the team that's supposed to be there isn't. So I'll go Vikings. And
which goes back to Brad questioning the Rams.
Yes,
because they probably should be there, but
they're an injury.
Yeah.
Someone goes down with an ACL.
Yeah.
You're fucked. Cooper Kupp goes down with a collarbone.
Yeah.
Because Van Jefferson can't stay healthy, so you don't have the people behind him. And if you do, they're also injury riddled. So, and then you let people like Gerald Everett go. So
and they didn't replace Andrew Whitworth when he retired either.
No.
You're seeing that so far tonight.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Vaughn's
you guys got the game
home.
on or not.
No, I don't. I've got fatal car crashes going right now.
Well, it's probably for the best. I'm not really focused on it, but I've just noticed a lot of Bills in the backfield so far.
They're congratulating Matt Stafford on his championship.
The quarterbacks are 15 of 16 combined.
So we'll go back to Vinny. Who are you going to pick?
Packers, you said. Correct.
Packers. I like to see Aaron Rodgers win. I don't know why, but I do.
As long as if he wins, he cuts his freaking hair.
Yeah, he's not doing that.
Hey. So on to the AFC.
I think we're watching them.
Possibility.
That's going to be the other pick. I think that there's two of them. And Brad said it early on. Tired of hearing the Eagles. And my team's been the Chargers since '90. I've said it more times than I care to repeat. Sale gets drafted. There we are. Watching the old school college football when you had the jersey you could cut off, and it was that stupid like mesh that almost looked like you bought it from like a Kmart 10 years later or whatever. I'm like, that was cool. And the big hip pads, and like that dude's a badass. Hope he goes somewhere cool. Goes home to San Diego. Bingo, let's go. But I don't like hearing them always being like the pundit pick, because it never fucking happens. Everything always goes wrong. Kicking woes, injuries, just like some fatal flaw always rears its ugly head.
I think the Chargers take the division this year.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be Chargers. It'll be the Chiefs, and then Denver and the Raiders are going to be fighting for third.
I can see a scenario where Kansas City doesn't make it.
Yes.
There's a possibility.
Because I don't think they've added enough.
No, they've lost more than they've added.
Yeah.
Yeah, my problem with the Chiefs is not on offense.
No,
they've done nothing on defense. They have great linebackers and Chris Jones.
Yeah.
But I'm right there with you though, Brad. That's the thing is their defense continues to lack, and they haven't done much to bolster it. And that's it's great and wonderful when you have a quarterback in Mahomes who can put up a shit ton of points. But on the flip side, if you're a head coach, you don't want to have to put up 40-something points every time to win a football game. Let's face it, you don't. So your defense has to find opportunities to, step it up and avoid the overexertion of your quarterback. who, let's face it, last couple of years has been a little bit more injury prone because of offensive line issues. But, you know, I know a lot of people have high hopes for Denver because of Russell, and it's one of those in which I'll be honest, I'll be happy if they become a 500 team this season. To me, that'll be a win.
They're going to be better than that.
That's what I'm hoping for, Michael. That's the thing. I don't want to set my sights too high and set myself up to be utterly disappointed.
Yeah.
Because this is a team sport and one player doesn't make a team, doesn't make or break a team.
Yeah, because that'd be my only thing is other than Russell Wilson, how did they get better?
They kept their receivers.
I was gonna say that was the thing that team was missing was quarterback.
They got an adult in the room now, you know.
Yeah. Quarterback was the thing that was missing. They've got stud draft. They've done really well drafting guys on the offense the last couple, 2-3 years. And that defense is good enough to hang with people too.
Yeah, the defense has been spotty. Yeah. There were some games you were like, this is what I expected. And then the next week you'd be like, eh. So I don't know what to that whole division, I don't know. I don't trust any of them.
No.
But I think they're all good, if that makes sense.
No. Yeah.
Like, I think they're all good, but I don't trust any of them.
They all have question marks.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm thinking like, oh, who do I like in that division? And I'm just – yeah. Because, like, the Raiders last year won, like, 4 overtime games.
Yeah.
You win in 4 overtime games again? No. You know? So, yeah, you got a little better, but you also overachieved the previous year. So, you still just a 9-10 win team? Okay, that ain't going to win the division.
Yeah, every team in that division has the potential.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But you know, I still lean towards the Chargers taking the division, and you know, depending on how well the defense plays in Kansas City, I still think they'll take the second spot and probably still make the playoffs. But you know, as far as I'm concerned, as it pertains to, you know, I'll go ahead and say my Super Bowl pick in the AFC is going to be the Bills. I'll go ahead and get that out of the way. I think
the Patriots finished third in that division.
So you put Dolphins.
I thought you said they were going to finish 4th and really be.
No,
really go at it, Michael.
Jacksonville is still really bad. They are real bad. Yeah. I think New England finishes third. I think it'll be Buffalo and Miami the first 2 spots out of that division. And I would pick Miami. I don't like Tua. I didn't like him in college. I thought it was the craziest. Going into that draft, I couldn't believe that they were talking about him being a top 5 pick. It blew my mind because I don't pay a whole lot of attention leading up to the draft about too much. So that year I didn't even know that. I just went based off of watching Tua play in college. Like, yeah, he's not very good. He's kind of a weak-armed lefty. That usually doesn't work in the NFL very well. And then when it came time for the draft and they're talking about him that high, I'm like, I must have missed something because I don't see it. And I don't know. I could be wrong. Could be. I don't think I am. But I think the rest of the team is good enough to overcome that.
And for me, I talked with Brad the other day and said, I drafted his quarterback because we have a 2-quarterback starting system in the fantasy league. So you got to flip your normal fantasy thought and brain to go away from, I need to draft a running back or get a Jefferson right away, which again, getting Jefferson's going to be huge, but you need a quarterback because they dry up quickly. So I picked 2, I think, and I've been like the 4th round because by then it was slim pickings. I already had gotten Mahomes and Wilson, which I didn't want to, but I don't want quarterbacks in the same division. But that was what the best of the best. But I just think if he doesn't do it this year, you cannot fucking continue it's something, it's this, it's that, the people around him, the coaches. He is set up. Will he have it? Probably not. He should have a season that's one of the dumbest of all times, video game style. I mean, you've got Waddle and you've got Hill. Speed to fucking burn. You've got Gesicki, where I don't know why, or these rumors of constantly trading him away. It doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
So now you've got the whole field. You've got backs, while they might not be elite runners, get Mostert in space. We've seen what happens. He can fucking fly.
Yeah, Hill even admitted that Mostert was faster than him.
You've got finally, after all these years for Brad, you've got pretty much, and again, every team's got flaws. You've got everything that should set up for a return to glory. In my opinion. At least
first off, the Tua hate and slander has just become ridiculous. The guy is 13-8 with no offensive line, no wide receivers, nothing, and he's 13-8 in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I said it prior to the
about
draft.
Matthew Stafford. Oh, it's because he had no offensive line.
Yeah.
Tua doesn't have an offensive. It was literally the worst in the league last season by every metric possible. No running game, no receivers. So yes, he's got the receivers this year. But does Teron Armstead stay healthy? This could implode. That's what's going to implode this whole thing, is that offensive line. Now they've made the improvements, and we have an offensive coach now. The 2 offensive coordinators we had last year aren't even in the league this year, or the one's a running back coach, to give you an example.
No.
That's why Flores isn't there anymore. The guy is accurate as all get out when he's got time to throw the football. The metrics show it. He is Drew Brees left-handed from when he has time, but he doesn't have that anticipation. Drew Brees,
yeah,
that's elite level stuff. But he's a left-handed Drew Brees. That's what he is. But to be like that, your margin of error is small. So if your offensive line stinks and he has to off schedule, he doesn't have the arm strength to make up for it. He can't make the elite throws that Herbert can and others can. But they act like this guy's garbage, and I don't get it. And I wasn't even the biggest Tua guy coming out. You guys remember, I was never like, oh, Tua, I'm so excited.
Yep.
But I was like, oh, this guy has a high floor.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, okay, at worst, he's Teddy Bridgewater. That's the bottom floor, worst he's going to be. Functional. Mm-hmm. And then at best, he turns into Drew Brees, right? Which is very rare and not going to happen.
Yeah.
But, it is set up theoretically. But we got to be able to run the ball. The last 3 years were literally the worst run team in the NFL. I mean, it's so bad. I watched a replay the other day, and the linebackers did not take one step forward on a play action because they didn't care. You know how you at least pause. The guy was going backwards. This is how bad. People don't understand how bad it was in his defense.
Well, and you also have to have an offensive line to create holes too. So,
well, that's the problem. Is they knew the defensive line would make the tackles. It isn't like the linebackers and safeties are coming down making the tackles. The defensive linemen were making the tackles, and the only time he got a big run is because the guy made a miss right away, and it was like, oh, I have a little space. But yeah, so it was all time bad. in his defense. I feel like I have to come to his defense now, and I don't even want to defend him. But I don't get it. I'm like, the guy is 13-8, and he's had no weapons until Waddle last year. Gesicki is overrated. I'm sorry, people overrate that guy. He's a big body, but he's not quick twitch enough. He doesn't block, so you know when he's out there what we're doing. That's why there's talk about trading him, is because the way Mike McDaniel runs his offense, as you've seen in San Francisco, you've got to be able to block, because everything is motion and deception, and you have no idea where it's going to go. Well, if we stick Gesicki out there, you know what the play is, because the guy can't block anybody. So, and as a wide receiver, is he a good wide receiver? Not. He's just mediocre. Now, he's a great tight end if he's actually on linebackers and safeties.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why they were afraid to franchise him even originally is because he played 81% of snaps as a wide receiver. So that's why I say he's kind of overrated, because he can't play tight end, if that makes sense. He's a slot or out receiver who's just a big body, who's good. I actually like him, but he's got a big catch radius, but he's not quick twitch. So he's not, and he takes, why he's fast, over the course of 50 yards. Well, number one, he don't have time to throw it for 50 yards. And number two, it takes him a while to get up to that point. It ain't like Tyreek Hill where in a quarter of a second, he's 20 yards down the field. It's not like that. So you guys are right in the sense of, if he's mediocre, then it's time to move on. But I think I'm always worried about his health. I am not worried about his play one leg, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm worried, is he going to play 17 games? And that answer has to be no, because he hasn't done it. He hasn't played a full season in college, hasn't played a full season in NFL. Like I said, when you get to 3 and 4 years, it becomes a trend. That's what I'm concerned with. It's not his actual play. I am fairly confident in Tua, actually, but not in him.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to lose them games. With mistakes.
But like, people wanted to get like Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo is not better than him.
No.
Sorry, he's not. Just because Jimmy played on a better team doesn't make him better than him. He's not better than him.
Well, Jimmy also had a cast of characters around him too.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Is
great ones.
Yeah. So there's my little mini rant of defending Tua a little bit, which I don't. Like I said, I was the guy coming out that wasn't hyped, But yeah, now I feel like I'm the defender of Tua. So we'll see. But yeah, like I said, to me, it's all health. It's not even a matter of whether I'm pretty sure he's going to throw for 30 plus touchdowns if he plays 17 games. But
so I'm going to pose the question because I've already thrown out my AFC Super Bowl pick. Just out of curiosity, because outside of the AFC West, of course, because that's like a toss-up. You can flip a coin, and anybody could technically take that division. Outside of that, who's everybody's picked in the North? I'm just curious.
I trust Baltimore the most, so I'm going to go them. I know what I'm getting.
And that's
fair. They literally, every single secondary person got hurt last year. That's not even an exaggeration.
No.
So I trust them the most. I'm not saying they're the most talented, so I would take them.
Michael?
I would say Baltimore as well. There's too many questions with the other teams in that division. And it's at the position you're not allowed to have questions.
Like, would you be surprised if the Bengals don't make the playoffs?
I would.
I would be. I would be
surprised if
it wouldn't surprise me if the Steelers had a better record than them, honestly.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't know who's on that defense. I know their offense is good.
Well, the offensive line was always
I was going to say, provided they protect Burrow.
And they did some stuff in free agency.
Yeah, it's been.
But at the same time, it's like it's still too early to make the determination is did they actually get better to protect Burrow?
Yeah.
Because I love the kid. I think the kid is phenomenal. I think he did like well beyond expectations considering the crappiness of the offensive line to still make it where they did. But at the same time, I still question his ability to stay healthy, regardless if they have an offensive line or not.
Yeah.
I mean, I was surprised he stayed healthy last year with as much as what he got hit.
And I don't think the Bengals would have gotten past the Bills in the playoffs last year had the Bills.
Yeah.
Won
you
the
want to
coin
talk
toss
about
in that overtime game.
everything going right for a team.
Yeah.
They were not the best team in the AFC. If he played that thing again, they would not have made the Super Bowl.
No. It should have been Buffalo. It should have been Buffalo.
Yes.
I mean, hands down. And I'm speaking for all of us. There is not a single one of us on here that did not think that this was Buffalo's year to go to the Super Bowl. Last year was Buffalo's year to go to the Super Bowl. That was just, I hate to say this to a degree, some of that it just seemed like a fluke almost. It's like the freaking parting the Red Sea, the freaking stars aligned.
But I will say, what was the one thing I even said it last year that's going to derail the Bills was what if a corner got hurt because there was nothing behind him, and what happened? Tre'Davious White gets hurt, he plays in that game, they're in the Super Bowl. You know? Not even, but that was my whole thing. Like, if you look of these top teams, what will derail you, right? I said if they have an injury at the corner position, that was the one thing they didn't have depth. And sure enough, that's just like the slim margins you have of why it's so hard to win. It just shows you. But and they got the same problem this year, by the way.
So Vinny, you're picking in that division. Well, I of course know who you want, but that's we're not going hypothetical. We're not going with once.
I'm going to say Baltimore, a hard-won Steelers. And Cincy's always tricky. But I don't think the Browns can do anything this year.
That's what I was going to ask. Are we writing off the Browns? Because it's still a pretty good roster.
It is.
They've got a good team overall. But so who?
That is one tough division.
I got to ask, because with Deshaun on suspension, who's actually starting in Cleveland?
Brissett.
Right now, Brissett. Yeah, Jacoby Brissett. Functional in Indianapolis, non-functional in Miami.
Yeah.
But one had an offensive line, one didn't, and he's really slow at getting rid of the football. So you can imagine how that marriage worked.
And I think playing in Indy, getting player home games in a dome without weather also helps as well.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get that in Cleveland.
No.
It's going to be cold and gross.
Yeah, I was just curious because that in itself would dictate where Cleveland comes into play.
And as good as Deshaun Watson is, even if he only did miss the first 5 or 6 games, whatever it was going to be, it's been over a year since he's played a football game in the NFL.
Yep, that's the biggest
the timing and not having any kind of
Carolina
chemistry. Yeah, chemistry with the team. There's just none of that there yet.
Exactly.
Because he doesn't even get to practice with the team, does he?
Nope.
He's gone for 11 weeks.
Right.
Yeah. And so his first game back on the active roster will be the 12th game, and that's against the Texans.
Yep.
which is funny.
Well,
I wonder if they were. I wonder if the NFL was gonna give him 12-game suspension, and then saw that and was like, let's pull it back a week.
What's the only way we can get the Browns Texans to get watched?
Yes, exactly.
Well, except
well, and we all know that when Russell went to Denver, like first Monday night game, Denver and Seattle. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, that was all freaking pre-planned. I don't care what anybody says.
So, Dave, do you like the Chargers to beat the Bills if the Chargers are healthy?
Yes.
That's what I think too.
I think
everybody said it, enough defensive pressure. Again, health and should be just, if we say health, everybody's healthy, which it won't happen, but just for the sake of argument, they can cause Allen, even with his wheels, to throw into some mistakes, and they've got the safeties there that can capitalize on said mistakes.
Yeah.
Get Derwin James doing what he can do. He's going to be somebody that you hear about quite a bit. And even him playing close to the box like Rodney Harrison used to do. Again, you can get him up there and do that. Cause a lot of panic for the quarterbacks. Because they can get you from all sides, all directions. And Buffalo's O-line, it's solid. It's not great.
Yes.
It's solid, and their running game doesn't really put the fear of God in you. In the playoffs, Singletary finally started doing a little more. I don't know if they signed someone.
No, they drafted James Cook from Georgia, though.
So, I mean, Galvin's brother, that's a great story, but
not a power guy or anything. So
no, this isn't like a bull that's going through there. Your thunder and lightning type situation. You don't have the running game that's going to really be able to like offset Allen. And if they run the play action, really, you can buy into that. It's not like the Bengals, Joe Mixon. I don't know how many Bengals games I watched last year because of the Paramount Plus. I didn't realize how good of a runner he is. Just a beast, churning, balance. They don't have that in Buffalo. They got a lot of other stuff. Allen is a fucking phenomenal quarterback. Because that was another guy that was on quite a bit, so I got to watch him, and I had him for fantasy, so obviously I want to see what's going on with him. But Chargers, and again, I don't like to pick them to do anything. They're like somebody on the end of the panel down there. I don't like to do it because for me, they never fucking do it. Just, I'm not alone, but if they were to face the Bills in a big game, the only thing I would say the Bills have the advantage with is they've been in, I won't say big games, like a bunch of them, but that Kansas City one was a fucking unreal one last year.
Yeah, that was fun to watch. That was the best game I think I've ever.
Oh God! Just they're gonna win. It's like a minute and a half left, and a long touchdown. Like what? Kickoff return to the 50, and I'm like, no.
See, and me and Michael watched that game just pissed off the whole time. Because why can't someone stop somebody?
Yes. Yeah.
I honestly was like yelling at the TV like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But, yeah, still entertaining though. But.
Yeah. For sure entertaining.
So
I was like,
what do we think about the Colts and the Titans? Is the Colts the clear favorite with Matt Ryan now? But the Titans never have a losing season. They're like the Steelers now. A lot of people don't realize that. This is 6-7 straight years they haven't had a losing season.
Personally, I think the Colts will be better with Ryan.
Well,
but
yeah.
I think they're going to be sneaky. They're going to be one of those sneaky teams, I think.
Because the thing is with that division, because it's by far the worst division. So you might, you're not getting beat up as much, and you have a chance to get a bye week like Tennessee did last year. Now they screwed it up against the Bengals. So in a way, you can almost work yourself in like to the AFC Championship game without even being that good. You know what I mean? So you can almost sneak in there. So that's why like the Colts might be like a sneaky pick,
Yeah,
or if you like the Titans better.
I mean, they could get a wild card.
Right.
Very easy.
I like the Colts more than I like the Titans.
I agree.
It's all going to be dependent on Henry. Titans rise and fall on Derrick Henry.
Yeah. And I mean, they AJ Brown left, and then they drafted a very similar type receiver, but slower.
Mm-hmm.
I was really glad the Packers didn't draft him. There was a lot of people talking about that guy out of Arkansas, and I was like, I don't want him. He makes tough contested catches. He can go up and get those balls, but man, he looks like he's running in slow motion. And I just don't think those guys play well in the type of offense that we had. I didn't think he would fit with the team. So I was happy he didn't make it to us. But I love Mike Vrabel, so I don't.
That's what I'm saying. Is he the best coach in the AFC?
He's my favorite.
Maybe next to Andy Reid.
Yeah, Vrabel's my favorite. Yeah,
I
like
just
him a lot.
I'm just tired of Andy Reid, but
yeah. Well, and
that, in all fairness, that's because I live in Texas. Everybody is Dallas Cowboy fans, and of course, I see a lot of Cowboys games, and there's a lot of times in which I get a lot of laughs and poking fun at a lot of the Cowboys fans. And even from that perspective, I've never been a fan of Andy Reid. Because he, being a coach of the Eagles for the longest time, great coach. I will not sit there and take that away from him. Phenomenal coach, great coach. But for whatever reason, it just, I don't know. There's something about him. I don't know what it is. Demeanor, interviews after game, something. There's just something about him that I don't care for. And of course, him going to Kansas City, royally pissed me off because of all places for him to go. Why go there in the contending with Denver in my division? But Michael, Vrabel is just one of those guys that you can't help but to like.
Yeah.
Loved him as a player too. I mean, that played talking about playing at freaking 200 miles an hour with it just, that guy had no quit. And that's how he coaches, and it shows.
Yep. Give me all the defensive guys. I love it.
Yes, we know, Michael. You're all about the defense. You're all about the defense.
It makes the difference when every team out there can score points.
Yeah.
Well, defense wins championships. Most of us who are fans of the NFL know defense wins championships.
Yeah.
Prime, Denver, Carolina. Von Miller. He's the reason why Denver won that.
Oh, no doubt whatsoever.
You go back in Denver and Seattle. Number one defense against the number one offense. Seattle freaking schooled the shit out of Denver.
Mm-hmm.
That hurt. That was painful to watch. I mean, I turned that damn game off because I was so pissed.
Yeah, I was pissed too, but for different reasons. I didn't want Pete Carroll to get a championship.
Oh,
yeah,
so
but he lost the following year.
So and that felt real good. It's the only time I've ever been happy for the Patriots.
Yep, I love that one. I love that one because why in the world, and it is still to this day, You have Marshawn Lynch. Why in the world do you throw the ball on the 1 yard line?
You just don't. There's too many bodies when you're that close to the end zone. It too many hands and arms going anywhere and everywhere to make bad things happen.
Yeah, and that was a coaching decision. So it's like it served him right to lose that game because of. But on the flip side, let's put things into perspective. We're going to run the ball. We're going to run the ball. We're going to run the ball. That's what New England was expecting. But it's like at the same time, just because that's what you think is going to happen, New England was ready for that.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter what play they called. New England was ready.
Yeah.
But at the same time, okay, so you stop Marshawn Lynch at the goal line. You still have another chance to do the same thing.
Yeah.
That was a piss poor coaching decision. And I was laughing my ass.
I loved it, and I loved the look on Richard Sherman's face when he realized what happened. And it took down the Seattle Dynasty.
Yep.
That team was going to be a dynasty.
Yep.
And that decision right there divided that locker room and created a lot of animosity on that team.
Darn.
Yep.
So you know how we all like our random white wide receivers, slot receivers? So the new random white guy I think is going to is Kyle Phillips from the Titans. You're going to hear his name. He's going to randomly catch 60 balls, and you're not going to know who the heck the guy is, and he's 5'10". But he's going to be the random white slot receiver this year that comes out of nowhere.
Okay.
I'm calling it. Kyle Phillips. It's
my cousin.
Your third cousin?
Yeah.
Sixth cousin on your father's uncle's side?
Twice removed.
So in other words, he's going to be the next Wes Welker. Is that what you're?
Yeah, like Hunter Renfrow type for the Raiders, where you're like, well, how is this guy good? But he's always open.
Yeah, and that's
because he knows how to run routes and set up people and blah blah blah.
You've got two of the three best route runners on that team with him and Devontae. Yeah. They're so good. Yeah. That's why that division's just so wonky.
Yeah, it's all four teams are good. It's a crapshoot. It's going to be one who,
and then you got Waller.
Well, it's going to come down to like the division games that dictate who actually ends up winning that division.
Yeah,
because it's going to come down to tiebreakers. But I could see it all coming down to tiebreakers, and I wouldn't put it past the fact that there could be three teams that come out of the division in the postseason. I think it's possible.
Yeah.
Just wait here in a few years when we go to an 18-game schedule and they're going to make 50% of the NFL make the playoffs like they do in the NBA, and it's a freaking joke because it's all about money.
Yep.
Too many. There's already too many playoff teams.
Yeah, let's not hash out that conversation.
It's easy for you to say though, Michael, when your team wins the division every year. You don't think there needs to be more playoffs. Okay, when you live our life, Michael, we love the fact we get another playoff.
But they won the Super Bowl off of a wild card when there was only one, and that's how it should be.
But remember, Brad, Michael is a fan of the game as a whole.
Hey, but sometimes people lose perspective. They get spoiled. See?
Oh, I know it's. I know the ride down is going to be so bad when Rodgers is gone. It's going to be ugly.
Oh, come on, man. You got Jordan Love, man. Come on.
Yeah, that guy stinks.
Yeah, he is not good at all.
He wasn't good in college either. That's why I was.
No, he was. Yeah, he had a really, really good. It was a really good sophomore season.
Yeah.
Then he was terrible. Had 19 picks the year the Packers drafted him. I was like, he was terrible. The track record shows that when he didn't have, he wasn't good. He wasn't good, and I think that Mark Murphy and Gutekunst tried to get slick, and they wanted to make that pick because they thought the Patriots were going to draft him. I think they were trying to be too smart, and it just was so stupid. All you did was draft a guy that's all he did was cause problems with Rodgers, the Hall of Famer. Why do you do that? Why do you poke that bear?
That was the biggest insult for them.
Yeah.
To there, and it's like they need a receiver. They need a receiver. They need a receiver. They need a receiver.
Yeah.
That literally was one of those. Okay,
quarterback.
Let's say we do this. What is this going to do? Is this going to piss off Rodgers to the extent that he's just going to blow the F up and like just go ape shit and freaking take him to a Super Bowl because he did X? Stupid.
I dislike Mark Murphy so much that I know he sits back and won't say it on camera, but I bet he secretly says, we did that, and now he's won back-to-back MVPs. It was because I drafted Jordan Love.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Murphy is just a guy I do not like. It's why I wish we had an actual owner.
He's a piece of shit.
He is.
He's a piece of shit. And there's no other.
To me, he's just not a football guy. He just isn't.
Yeah, well. Of course, we could go on and on about the downfalls.
Hey, I would love to have a non-football guy run my team and make the playoffs every year.
Yeah, well,
you've got to get an Aaron Rodgers though.
But who keeps finding the Brett Favres and Aaron Rodgers?
It was
Aaron Rodgers was not a guarantee by any stretch coming out.
No, but he should have. But he should have been the number one pick.
Yeah. I think people forget what he looked like at Cal.
Hindsight.
This is a hindsight thing.
I think that's a hindsight.
It's like the Justin Herbert thing.
But Cal didn't have good players on that team.
Yeah, but like you go look back, his throwing motion is completely different now. Like it was stuff you could not predict. Like
he turned out to be a master.
Yeah. But there was the possibility of what he is when Alex Smith was never going to be that possibility. That was the safe pick.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And it wasn't, they never won anything with him.
No. That's true.
Because you're allowed to gamble with the number one pick because most of them don't turn out.
Yeah.
I'm calling timeout real quick.
On?
C would like 30 quick seconds.
There you go. There's your 30 seconds of fame.
Hi. Look at me. So the pros made me this. So we got the Michigan Stars in my number 8.
New goalie jersey.
That's your new goalie jersey.
There you
go. I was a goalie all throughout high school.
Show you.
Did you hear Brad?
I know I can't.
Brad's was a goalie too.
Okay. Now I can hear you.
Just remember, you're never going to get the credit, but all the blame.
Yes.
You're the most important person out there.
My new goalie gloves. They still have the plastic on them.
Sticky, aren't they?
Yeah, they still have the plastic on them.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, the pros got her a new jersey.
It's sponsored. Our sponsor today is Eco Sports.
Pro tip:
Eco Keeper gloves.
Do not keep your gloves in your bag when you're done.
Don't,
because they will still be wet when you go to put them on next time. So that's a pro tip. Let them air dry when you get home.
Okay. Bum, 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 bum.
Oh, yep, she's all geared up.
Behold.
First game is
Saturday.
No. Oh yeah, Saturday. Saturday and Sunday, first 2 games of the year.
Behold the old mighty gloves.
Loving it.
Have you already been for 2 hours now?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
You had your 30 seconds, see.
You have your 30 seconds. Go to bed.
No.
See you tomorrow.
No.
Bye
No.
bye. Bye bye.
He muted you. He muted you. We can't hear you.
We haven't Jets. Pizza. I guess someone can have Pizza the Hut.
Oh my God, tell Steve your dad joke.
May the Schwartz be with you.
I have two dad jokes for all of you. Now I need to hear their expression.
Oh.
Hold on, give me 15 minutes. Give me 2 minutes of fame.
Okay. Go.
Okay, you guys are ready?
Yes.
And then we're calling it a night.
Give me the 2 minutes of fame.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, are you ready? What does the door say to the other door when they're taking a picture?
I don't know. What?
We're adorable.
Oh, goodness.
On the Insert Revolution podcast.
That would be a
Okay.
night.
Okay, we have two more. Okay.
One more.
Two more. No, two more.
Go.
Two more. Okay. What does the corn say to the other corn when it's trying to tell a joke?
That's corny.
You ruined it. That you're not supposed to answer.
I was guessing.
Okay, go. Next
That's
one.
cool.
Number 3.
Never mind. My jokes are corny.
Okay, last one.
You still ruined it. You guys can't answer. Remember.
All right, sorry.
What does or you say I don't know or what? So what does when ketchup and mustard are in a race? When ketchup and mustard are in a race and mustard is winning, what does ketchup have to do?
What?
Catch up.
Up. Yes. Yes. Wait, you ruined it. You ruined it. You ruined it. No.
That's what I do.
No.
No.
I ruined him.
You do. That's right.
Where's the hook? I tried to cross check her into the boards about 10
Help! I
minutes ago.
expected the point.
Ah, the joys of children.
One
Yeah, tell me
team,
about it.
one team I don't think anybody even mentioned. The Cardinals.
Oh, that's true. Then that's because they only play half a year.
Kyler wants out.
They're 6-2, then they'll go 2-6. It's like an every year thing.
Kyler wants out.
I couldn't believe.
That's my only.
I couldn't believe Connor had 20 touchdowns last year.
He was.
I saw that stat and
Oh
fell over.
That's a guy or that's a team, I think. And again, they're what Watkins or Hopkins is out. How many games? 4 or 6?
6. Yeah, 6.
So if they go 3-3, that could be the NFC West title holder because
No, that's a
I
good
won't-
point. I did kind of forget about that.
because I was thinking I'm like Kyler Murray. Nobody even said them, and I don't think they would have fallen that far. I think Rondale Moore maybe
No.
comes up a little bit. And, Ertz first full year in the system. So
Isaiah Simmons is a monster. Buda Baker's great.
they got pieces.
I don't think Cliff Kingsbury is a good coach. If he was a good coach, they wouldn't fall flat every year.
Yeah. But about another team that's in the hunt for sure.
Oh, 100%.
Maybe
Yeah,
not
we just.
but playoffs.
They'll make noise.
Yeah, no, you're right. We just forgot about him.
I 100% forgot about him.
But that's why we forgot about it because we're so used to like the 5-2 start,
Yeah,
and then
I'm still reminiscing about Razul Douglas picking him off and winning the game.
I'm just reminiscing Rasul Douglas not being good.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
And-
Like some people were like, "Is this guy like a rookie?" I'm like, "No, he's like 30. He was never good."
He was on a practice squad.
Right. Like, and he was awesome.
And hearing Rodgers talk about him is wild because he says he puts him right up there with Charles Woodson as being the smartest football player he's ever played with. Which is
Yes.
crazy.
Something clicked for the guy for sure. That
Yeah.
happens sometimes.
Yeah, the right system, and it just worked. He didn't, I mean, he's the number 3 now, and he got to be a number 2 last year. So, yeah, something, like you said, something clicked with him because it wasn't like he made a couple fluky plays here and there. He didn't make bad plays and get beat. He never looked lost.
He was always there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which we can't say that about Kevin King. Like, that guy is an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, they missed on that one.
Turnstile.
They missed on a lot of corners because they had the year where they had was it Quentin Rawlings?
Oh yeah.
He was, and they had another corner in that same draft that I'm blanking on his name. That was a big time bust. And then I'll still never forgive them for letting Micah Hyde walk.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Super Bowl team from the AFC.
I already said the Bills.
Steve's got the Bills. Vinny, who you got? You got mute.
None of this come back to me either. Shit. You're not gonna get thrown into the public square and get stoned if you're wrong.
I know, but I'm thinking.
Holy shit.
That was epic.
The perfect timing about the better half as always.
That's really. I guess Jets really.
Oh no.
That's not a football team.
Bills.
I was going to say, no answer's the wrong answer.
I know. I just had to.
Yeah, none of us
through
know
all the
anything.
teams.
We're just guessing.
Yeah.
All right, Brad.
I'm gonna go Ravens.
that was the other team I was thinking about other than Buffalo.
So who you going with, Michael?
I don't even believe it that much, but that's what I'm going with. And my hot take: the Steelers have more wins than the Bengals. That's my hot take.
That'll put a smile on Vinny's face.
Yeah.
Red
So Michael,
I still think it's going to be the Bills.
all right, Dave. And then we can.
And it's because of the defense, not the offense.
That's fair. That's fair.
And I can't wait to watch Trevon Diggs get absolutely burnt all year again in Dallas. It doesn't matter if you have 11 picks if you give up 37 touchdowns. That guy was terrible.
Yep.
The New England game.
You have to
Pick
watch the
6.
games to know that, though, Michael.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
It wouldn't be right if I didn't pick the team out in the other team in Los Angeles. I'll still call them the San Diego Chargers, but I just think if they're ever going to do it, this has to be one of the years. Either this or next.
Uh-huh.
And then I think the clock that's running out on a couple guys like Keenan Allen. Khalil Mack still got gas in the tank. Both of them do, but I mean, the elite high-level play has to, at some point, start tapering off.
I thought there was a chance Keenan Allen was going to be a Packer.
And that's, I don't. Guyton, I like him a lot. And I like Allen, and I like Williams coming back. Eckler being healthy. The O-line again, solid. Right tackle's going to be the caveat there. It's either Trey Pipkins or Storm Norton, and Pipkins won that out. Special teams are solid. I mean, they have to do it now, or they're not going to do it now. So yeah, Vikings Chargers. What a fucking Super Bowl that would be.
That would be awesome.
I wouldn't watch.
You would too. You would watch.
Oh, I'd be the biggest Chargers fan in the world.
No, second team.
Because the only thing I like more than rooting for the Packers is rooting against everybody else in the division.
Especially the Vikings.
I don't want anything good to happen for any of those teams.
I like it.
You know. Dan Campbell, he's a big guy. He's
Oh,
a tight
yeah.
end. No, he's a bigger guy.
Oh, he's a monster. He looks like he could still play.
That he can.
All right. Pretty good for, we'll call it impromptu, since, I mean, granted, I know Dave started talking to the two of you a little bit ago. I think we did good.
Yeah.
I think we covered it.
And this year a little better with just going by conference than sort of division, and
Yeah.
not picking an MVP or rookie of the year, all that bullshit. I mean, because again, it literally throwing a dart at a dartboard.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you guys for coming on.
Thank
Absolutely.
you for doing it on a not Tuesday.
Yeah, not a ton of viewership tonight, but that's okay. Go back in the archives, and it's always like our goals videos. If we make the goals video, come
Yep.
back to that, and you can just say, "Wow, you're a fucking idiot. Why do you keep doing this? Nothing you say is ever right."
I have a feeling we'll get still a pretty good chunk of views though in the archives.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
We've
you'll
been doing
be
better.
surprised how many people like watch that kind of stuff. Like I know I was like when I went to the national, like people I didn't even know watched would like bring up stuff I say or hey
Oh, yeah.
or now the one thing I will say at the end of this video, do not make any bet decisions based on anything we say.
Yes.
I had now fortunately in this case he won a lot of money, but please don't do that.
Yeah, if you win money on betting what we say, then we expect some of that to come our way. That's the only stipulation.
And I would expect that you made money betting against anything I say.
But yeah, I got 2 messages last year of people that made bets based on something I said. And luckily they both won, but I'm like, don't ever do that. Like
That's
I'm
on,
literally a dude that sits on his couch. I don't care about betting.
that's on them. They can't they can't blame
Yeah.
you good on the good front or on the negative side. That's on them. That's on them.
Do you think you're going to go to Chicago next year, Brad?
Yes, I already have the hotel booked.
Oh, well, fantastic. Great. I'm going to be going.
All right. Yeah, I'm staying at the Crown Plaza.
Okay.
Yeah, the other three of us are still in conversations.
Yeah.
Along
Well,
with,
I know I'm going to get to see Dave here in a little over a week.
yeah, you got your wedding coming up.
Yep.
Oh, that's right. Is that October?
No, the 17th next weekend.
Oh, that's that.
A week from Saturday.
That's awesome.
Yep. So I'll get to hang out with Dave for the first time in a few years.
Yeah, it's been since 17.
You better not disappoint, Dave.
I think it was 16 and 17 pre-nats, and then they went away from that for RBI into that
The
April.
machinist. Yeah, the
Yeah.
machinist one. Yeah. Yeah, they stopped doing the pre-national because it just wasn't necessary for them anymore. And yeah, their trade nights just got too big.
Oh yeah, it's too popular, but that's good. Good for them.
That's great. Absolutely.
I know Neil was on Tuesday night, and he said easily their best national ever.
Good.
But then he said too, he didn't get the opportunity to even like really walk the floor at all because he was at the table the whole time, wheeling and dealing, and that's the caveat here. It's good for business. Business is booming, but you can't get out and maybe add a couple cards to your PC. Then if somebody at a table, even maybe like 2 rows over,
Right.
has, can't get out. So yeah, plan on being there in Chicago next year, some way, shape, form, or fashion. Because I haven't been to national since 11. So I've been jonesing. I hate people. This is going to be very evident when I'm there. Yeah, it'll be well.
Yeah, that's
known. But I want to do my rummage boxing because that's what box rummages. That's what I did then. I just take a couple, like a 3-row. I'd start filling stuff. Okay, this is the stuff I want. How much? Well, give me a deal. Okay, sounds good. Here's that. Then go to the next table with all the boxes because that's when Evolution Sports Marketing, who used to be huge on eBay, they had their like 5, 6, 7 tables. They'd take up like half of a little area where you'd have the 2 there and then 4 here. And it'd all be just the value boxes.
I bought so much off of them on eBay.
Tons.
And now it's DC Sports. Somebody consigns a lot of Clay Matthews stuff through them.
I was going to say, if you want football, he's like the new guy that everyone sends it to. I've noticed that too.
If there's, I would say probably 70 or 80% of the Clay Matthews stuff that pops up that I actually plan on going after, they're the ones selling it. So I'm like, man, I need to find out who's consigning these so I can just reach out to them.
Yeah. That and cut out the middleman.
Yeah.
So yeah, the cards are going to play a big part in it because I always like uncovering the gems either for like you guys, other friends, or the stuff that people just don't know about. They're too, you don't hear all the promoters and Human Stink Lions, Team Schmediums, all these guys pumping them. So the plebes and the lower rung of society, the lowest of the lowest rung, not you, Cardboard Underground, they don't know what they're dealing with. It's just, hey, it looks cool. It's an insert, maybe numbered 1,000. Well, those go for $40, $50, and you've got it in like your $5 box. Gladly come my way. Again, what Card Collector 2, everybody's, oh man, he does such a great. Fuck that. There's a lot of us that have been doing that for a lot longer, and I've got much better deals. So, and that's what I'm going to go there to do. Then pretty much after national time is done, which again, like Carlos has said, it doesn't have to be. We're on the floor every day for the 6, 8, 10 hours, whatever it is. I'm not going to do that. I can't fucking do that at work. I know I get paid there, so that sort of eases that for me. There I won't be. I'll be around stinky fuckers that just suck. They're loud, Zion, camera crews, dumb fucking corporate people. It'll be different.
I think I'm going there as far as the card side of it. I think I'm basically going there. I'm going to slab my superfractors and finites because that's the only way I'm ever going to do it is do it on site because I won't put them in the mail.
Yeah. Who you got? Would you drive up with the missus, or because I know you said
I would always go with John, but that weekend's tricky for John. The last week in the month. So I think I'm gonna fly.
Okay.
I think I'm just gonna fly because the drive isn't that much fun by myself.
No.
So
Driving sucks.
Yeah.
I would fly for a 45-minute trip if I could. If I had like a
a direct flight from Kansas City to Chicago is 55 minutes, and I've made that flight a few times. But it's the drive is like 7 hours. I want to say right around 7 hours. But that was the best part of the trip for me because John and I.
Yeah, it's different when
it's a blast. The drive home sucks.
Because you're both
the going home is when you wish you had flown.
Yep.
You just want to be home. Yep.
That is the great thing about Chicago is how easy that is, though.
Yeah. It's the easiest to get in and out.
Didn't have to get in a car. I didn't. Yeah, it was just easy.
Yeah.
All right, Dave, wrap us up.
So thank you, Michael, for jumping on. For those that watch live or in the archives, remember, these are express written opinions of ourselves. Do not hold any grudges against us for using this hashtag scholarship to try to win fiduciary winnings. If you lose, buy some Proset. And remember, like, comment, subscribe. One thing I'll say, Steve, before we wrap up, vacation, how was it? We didn't even get to it last episode because they were like, we'll talk the vacation, and just like Mark jumped on and I was like,
we can discuss more next week, but
okay,
it's good. It's good.
I had a great time with Trista. That was fun, relaxing. Lake Superior was fucking ice cold. Ice cold.
Rainy.
The pictures are always awesome.
Very rainy.
The lightning storm was tits too, or the thunderstorm at 1 a.m. I wish I would have got the lightning strike that was maybe a quarter mile from us, and the thunder on camera. Never heard anything as loud as that in my life from a storm, except when I watch a tornado video. That's it.
I need to send you the one video I took from Destin of the lightning in the distance.
Okay.
I'll have to remember to do that.
I love that stuff because she was like, you're jumping around like a little kid on Christmas. And Lily's just like going nuts, like, where the hell can I fucking hide? Because that's like right over us, like right above the tent. So she was all just like a gerbil or a hamster, just like on the bed, like trying to hide somewhere. It's like, you can't hide from this pup, sorry. So yeah, Lake Superior camping, the fucking best. That's another thing. You know, you fools up that way. Because again, once you're there, it's like, huh. No wonder why he makes one rant and then you don't hear from me the rest of the time. Just get it out of your system and then you can just look at the lake. You feel like a 90-year-old, but it's calming. Super calming because those waves are always lapping and crashing in. So someday, you'll get up there and enjoy the calming waters of Lake Superior. And we will play basketball. Blouses versus skins. So with that, thank you, everyone. Next week, regularly scheduled time, 7:35-ish Central Time on Tuesday.
Heavy on the ish.
I'll see you next spring.
No, you'll see me probably
Yes, we know, Michael. We know.
Thursday. Well, we'll keep in contact because that'll be when you'll get a large lump sum of meat.
Yes.
It's already being put together at the store. So
I may need to buy a bigger freezer.
well, I took a screenshot of your list again because I'm like, I know smoked turkey was one of them. Pasties was another one. So those came in today, but they bake them. They make them fresh over, I think, Babbitt, which is a store 20 minutes away, same company.
Mm-hmm.
And then they like freeze them. So you'll probably get more of those than anything else because they're gravy or ketchup, they're good. And you can choose what you like. I mean, you can choose both. Not the same time, obviously. That's sacrilegious, but you'll be in for a treat per se, literally, unheavily intended.
Yes.
So remember, cards, collecting them, so much fun. The friendships you forge in this hobby, that's what really matters. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Later.